This is the story of Sarah, a young woman with a smile as warm as a summer day and a heart even warmer. She worked as a waitress at a cozy little café called The Daily Grind. Everyone who came in knew Sarah. She remembered their names, their orders, and always had a kind word for each of them. More than just a waitress, she was a friend to many. But Sarah had a secret soft spot: animals. She loved all creatures, big and small. She volunteered at the local animal shelter every weekend, walking dogs and cuddling cats. If she saw a stray, she'd try her best to help it find a home. So, when she saw a struggling dog, her instincts took over. The Daily Grind was more than just her job, it was a place where she felt connected to her community. The Daily Grind wasn't just any cafe, it was the heart of the town. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee hung in the air, mingling with the sweet scent of pastries baking in the oven. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, illuminating the cozy interior. Red and white checkered tablecloths adorned the tables, and mismatched chairs added to its quirky charm. Old photographs of the town lined the walls, telling stories of days gone by. A chalkboard displayed the daily specials written in swirling, colorful letters. It was a place where people came to relax, catch up with friends, or simply enjoy a quiet moment with a good book. It was also a favorite spot for veterans from the nearby military base who appreciated the warm atmosphere and friendly faces. The cafe felt like home. Among the regulars at the Daily Grind was Mr. Peterson, a kind, older gentleman who always sat at the same corner table. He was a Vietnam War veteran, and his constant companion was Gus, a golden retriever with a graying muzzle and soulful eyes. Gus was more than just a dog, he was Mr. Peterson's service dog, his loyal friend, and his lifeline. Gus had been with Mr. Peterson for many years, helping him cope with the lingering effects of his time in the war. But Gus was getting old. His once sprightly gait had slowed, and his joints often ached. He still did his best to be there for Mr. Peterson, but sometimes the simplest tasks were a struggle. Sarah always made sure they had a special spot, knowing Gus needed the extra space. One particularly busy morning, the cafe was buzzing with activity. The breakfast rush was in full swing, and every table was filled. Sarah was juggling orders, refilling coffee cups, and greeting customers with her usual cheerful smile. Mr. Peterson and Gus arrived and settled into their usual corner. As Mr. Peterson reached for his newspaper, Gus tried to lie down, but his legs wobbled. Suddenly, Gus's legs gave out and he collapsed gently onto the floor with a soft whimper. Mr. Peterson knelt down, his face etched with concern. "Easy there, boy," he said softly, stroking Gus's fur. Sarah saw what happened and her heart sank. She knew Gus had been having a tough time lately. Without a second thought, she rushed over to help. Sarah knelt beside Gus, gently stroking his head. "Hey there, sweet boy," she whispered. "What's wrong?" She quickly grabbed a water bowl and filled it, offering it to Gus. He lapped it up gratefully. Sarah continued to soothe him, checking for any signs of injury. She noticed he was panting heavily. "He's probably just overheated," she said to Mr. Peterson. "Let's get him cooled down." She grabbed a damp cloth and gently dabbed it on Gus's paws and forehead. Gus seemed to relax under her touch. She stayed with them for about 10 minutes, ignoring the growing line of customers waiting for their orders. All that mattered to her was making sure Gus was okay. Mr. Peterson watched, a mixture of gratitude and worry on his face. He knew Sarah was putting herself out there for them. Unbeknownst to Sarah, Mr. Henderson, the cafe owner, had been watching the whole scene unfold. He stood behind the counter, his face growing increasingly red with each passing moment. He prided himself on running an efficient business, and Sarah's absence from her duties was disrupting the flow of things. Customers were starting to grumble, and the line was growing longer. Mr. Henderson was a stern man, not unkind, but focused on the bottom line. He valued hard work and efficiency above all else. While he understood the sentiment behind Sarah's actions, he believed that business should always come first. He clenched his jaw, deciding he would have a word with her later. He didn't like how long she was away, even if it was for a good cause. The other waitresses were struggling to keep up. Later that afternoon, as the cafe began to quiet down, Mr. Henderson called Sarah into his office. The office was small and cluttered, filled with stacks of paperwork and boxes of supplies. Mr. Henderson sat behind his large desk, his expression serious. "Sarah," he began, his voice firm but not unkind, "I need to talk to you about this morning. I appreciate that you were trying to help Mr. Peterson's dog, but you left your duties unattended for far too long. Customers were complaining, and the other waitresses were overwhelmed." He paused, taking a deep breath. "I'm sorry, Sarah, but I have to let you go. I can't have employees neglecting their responsibilities, no matter the reason. Sarah's heart sank. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Sarah walked out of Mr. Henderson's office, her eyes filled with tears. The news hit her hard. She had loved her job at the Daily Grind. It wasn't just a place to earn a living, it was a place where she felt like she belonged. She understood Mr. Henderson's perspective, but it didn't make the situation any easier. She knew she had neglected her duties, but she couldn't bring herself to regret helping Gus. He needed her, and she couldn't just stand by and do nothing. As she gathered her belongings, she worried about Mr. Peterson and Gus. She wondered who would make sure Gus had a comfortable spot now. She hoped they would be okay without her. Losing her job was hard, but the thought of not seeing Mr. Peterson and Gus anymore made her even sadder. The next morning, Mr. Peterson arrived at the Daily Grind with Gus, expecting to see Sarah's familiar smile. He was shocked and saddened to learn that she had been fired. The new waitress, though polite, didn't offer Gus the same level of care and attention. He missed Sarah's gentle touch and her kind words. He felt terrible. He knew that Gus's collapse had led to Sarah losing her job. He felt responsible and guilty. He sat in his usual corner, his coffee growing cold, his heart heavy with worry for Sarah and regret for what had happened. Gus seemed to sense his owner's distress and rested his head on Mr. Peterson's lap, offering silent comfort. Mr. Peterson knew he had to do something. He couldn't let Sarah's kindness go unrewarded. Mr. Peterson knew he couldn't fight this battle alone. After leaving the Daily Grind, he went straight to the nearby military base. He sought out his old comrades, men and women he had served with, people he trusted and respected. He told them the story of Sarah's kindness and her unfair dismissal. He recounted how Sarah had dropped everything to help Gus and how Mr. Henderson had fired her for it. He emphasized Sarah's genuine care for Gus and how much her simple act of kindness meant to both of them. The veterans listened intently, their faces growing stern as they heard the story. They were a tight-knit community, always ready to support one another, and they saw Sarah's actions as an act of service deserving of recognition, not punishment. They vowed to help. The veteran community was more than just a group of friends. It was a brotherhood and sisterhood forged in service and sacrifice. They understood the unwavering loyalty and devotion that service animals provided. To them, Sarah's act wasn't just kindness. It was an understanding of the unique bond between a veteran and their service dog. The news of Sarah's firing spread quickly through the base. Anger and indignation rippled through the ranks. They felt a strong sense of injustice and a deep desire to right the wrong that had been done. They decided they would show Mr. Henderson the true meaning of community support and the power of veterans standing together. A plan began to form, a plan that would bring a lot of attention to the Daily Grind. The following morning, Mr. Henderson arrived at the Daily Grind, preparing for another busy day. He unlocked the door and stepped inside, expecting the usual quiet before the morning rush. But today was different. As he looked out the window, he saw a sight that made his jaw drop. Parked along the street were several military vehicles, and a group of uniformed officers was heading toward the café. Mr. Henderson felt a knot of nervousness tighten in his stomach. He couldn't imagine what was happening. He smoothed his tie and waited, his heart pounding in his chest. He had a feeling this was about Sarah. The officers entered the café, their presence filling the small space. They were led by a tall, distinguished-looking woman with kind eyes and a firm voice. She approached Mr. Henderson, who stood frozen behind the counter. "Good morning, sir," she said respectfully. "We are here to express our support for Sarah and Mr. Peterson." Mr. Henderson swallowed hard, his nervousness growing. "We understand that Sarah was let go for helping Mr. Peterson's service dog, Gus. We believe that her actions demonstrated compassion and understanding, qualities that should be valued, not punished." The other officers stood silently behind her, their presence a powerful statement. Mr. Henderson didn't know what to say. One of the officers, a younger man with a kind face, stepped forward. "Sir," he said, "I was a K-9 handler for 5 years. I know firsthand the incredible bond between a service member and their dog. Gus isn't just a pet. He's Mr. Peterson's partner, his lifeline." Sarah recognized that, and she acted accordingly. He continued, "Service dogs provide invaluable support to our veterans, helping them cope with physical and emotional challenges." Sarah's compassion showed she understood the importance of that bond. Firing her sends the wrong message to the community. Mr. Henderson started to sweat. He realized this situation was bigger than he had anticipated. The cafe was silent, everyone listening intently. The officers began placing their orders: coffee, breakfast sandwiches, pastries, the line growing longer behind them. But they weren't just there for the food. They made it clear with their words and their presence that they were there to support Sarah. They asked about her, inquired why she wasn't working, and expressed their disappointment at her dismissal. The atmosphere in the cafe shifted. What started as a quiet morning quickly turned into a buzzing hub of activity and quiet protest. Mr. Henderson, seeing the growing crowd and the unwavering support for Sarah, felt the pressure mounting. He knew he had to do something, and fast. He also noticed the reporters that had just arrived outside. Word travels fast. News crews swarmed outside the daily grind, cameras flashing and microphones thrust forward. The story of Sarah's firing and the veterans' response was quickly spreading like wildfire. Reporters were eager to get Mr. Henderson's side of the story, but he remained inside, his face pale and his hands trembling. He knew this was a public relations disaster. The news would portray him as a heartless businessman who valued profits over compassion. He imagined the headlines: "Cafe owner fires waitress for helping veteran's dog," or "Veterans boycott local cafe after unjust firing." He couldn't afford that kind of publicity. His business would be ruined. He had to act, and he had to act now. He took a deep breath and made a decision. Mr. Henderson pushed his way through the crowd of officers and stepped outside, facing the cameras and the reporters. He cleared his throat, trying to project an air of confidence he didn't feel. "I want to address the situation regarding Sarah," he announced, his voice slightly shaky. "After further consideration, I have decided to offer Sarah her job back at the Daily Grind," he continued. "Furthermore, I will be giving her a raise as a token of my appreciation for her compassion and dedication to our customers, including our valued veterans and their service animals." He hoped his words sounded sincere. He had even practiced his speech in the mirror before coming out. He just hoped it was enough. Later that day, Mr. Peterson went to Sarah's apartment to personally deliver the news. He found her packing her belongings, a look of sadness on her face. "Sarah," he said gently, "I have something to tell you." He explained everything that had happened: the veterans' support, the officer's visit, and Mr. Henderson's public apology and job offer. Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. She couldn't believe that so many people had rallied to her defense. A wave of emotion washed over her: gratitude, relief, and overwhelming joy. "Are you serious?" she asked, her voice trembling. "He wants me back?" Mr. Peterson smiled. "He does, and with a raise." Sarah burst into tears, but this time they were tears of happiness. She accepted the offer immediately, her heart filled with gratitude for the veteran community. The next day, Sarah returned to the Daily Grind, greeted by cheers and applause. The veteran community had spread the word, and the cafe was packed with people eager to welcome her back. Mr. Peterson and Gus were there, of course, waiting at their usual corner table. Sarah rushed over to them, kneeling down to give Gus a big hug. "Thank you," she whispered to Mr. Peterson, her eyes shining with happiness. "Thank you for everything." The Daily Grind became even more popular than before, known not only for its great coffee and pastries but also for its kindness and community spirit. It was a place where everyone felt welcome, especially veterans and their furry companions. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and joy. This story shows us how important it is to be kind and helpful even when it's not easy. Sarah's quick thinking and caring heart made a big difference for Gus and Mr. Peterson. It also shows how a community can come together to support someone who has done the right thing. It reminds us that even small acts of kindness can have a big impact, and that standing up for what's right, even when it's hard, can lead to amazing things. The bond between veterans and their service dogs is special, and it deserves to be respected and supported. This story also highlights how important it is to value people for their compassion, not just their efficiency. In the end, kindness always wins. From that day forward, Mr. Peterson and Gus were even more regular customers at the Daily Grind. Sarah always made sure they had their favorite corner table, and she always brought Gus a bowl of fresh water. She even started keeping a jar of dog treats behind the counter just for him. Their bond grew stronger, a testament to the power of kindness and understanding. Mr. Peterson often told Sarah how much he appreciated her, and how Gus seemed happier than ever. Sarah, in turn, cherished their friendship, knowing that her simple act of compassion had created something truly special. It was a reminder that sometimes the smallest gestures can have the biggest impact. Mr. Henderson, too, learned a valuable lesson. He realized that running a business wasn't just about making money. It was also about creating a positive environment and valuing the people who worked for him. He started to appreciate Sarah's kindness and her genuine care for the customers. He understood that her actions, while initially disruptive, had ultimately brought the community together and made the daily grind a more special place. He even started offering discounts to veterans and their service animals. He finally understood that compassion and good business could go hand in hand. He was grateful to Sarah for showing him the way. It made the cafe a better place for everyone. Sarah's story spread throughout the town and she became known as a local hero. People admired her kindness and her willingness to help those in need. She received letters and cards from people thanking her for her compassion and for reminding them of the importance of being kind. She was invited to speak at local schools and community events, sharing her story and encouraging others to follow their hearts and stand up for what they believe in. She emphasized that even small acts of kindness can make a big difference in the world. Sarah never sought fame or recognition, but she was grateful for the opportunity to inspire others to be more compassionate and caring. She used her platform to spread the message of kindness. Inspired by Sarah's compassion, Mr. Henderson decided to create a Dog Days promotion at the Daily Grind. Every Tuesday and Thursday, customers were welcome to bring their well-behaved dogs to enjoy the outdoor patio. The promotion was a huge success. The patio buzzed with activity as dogs of all shapes and sizes mingled and played while their owners sipped coffee and chatted. The Daily Grind became even more dog-friendly, offering special treats and water bowls for its furry patrons. It was a joyful scene, a testament to the power of kindness and the love that people have for their animal companions. The dogs loved it and so did the customers. It became a town favorite. Sarah didn't let her newfound fame go to her head. Instead, she used it to help others. She started volunteering even more at the local animal shelter and she organized fundraising events to support both the shelter and local veteran organizations. She knew that her experience had given her a platform and she was determined to use it for good. She encouraged others to donate their time and resources to causes they cared about. She believed that everyone had the power to make a difference, no matter how small. She became a beacon of hope and inspiration in her community, proving that kindness truly can change the world. It was her mission to give back. And so, the Daily Grind continued to thrive, a testament to the power of community, compassion, and the unwavering bond between veterans and their service dogs. Sarah remained a beloved figure, always ready with a smile and a kind word. Mr. Henderson learned to value his employees and the importance of giving back. And Gus? He continued to enjoy his special spot at the cafe, always greeted with a treat and a gentle pat on the head. The story of Sarah, Gus, and the Daily Grind became a local legend, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, kindness and compassion can always triumph. It's a story that was told for many years to come, reminding everyone to be a little kinder.